of the action of divine providence in this regard. Any experience of feeling abandoned, forgotten, not taken into account, if you do not manage to isolate the soul and hide internally, invites you to recognize it. Our lack of importance in the eyes of others can be combined with a fruitful recognition. The more we disappear from the attention of others, the more God's attention to us will be different. Less sensitivity toward ourselves outside of prayer is the fruit of deeper prayer. When silent prayer comes to an end and we keep our eyes away from I, this is a sign that we better realize that we are never alone, a truth that is first discovered in silent prayer. The longing to disappear from our own thoughts when praying is always in proportion to the greater degree of our soul's desire to long for God. Who am I that the mother of my Lord should come to visit me? Luke 1:43. This question from Saint Elizabeth to Mary should arise in the heart whenever we experience a great desire to pray in silence. Father, I abandon myself to your hands. Do with me what you want. I am willing to do anything. I accept everything. A prayer of abandonment like the one composed by Charles de Foucauld can only arise from a greater poverty of spirit. A spirit of abandonment renounces autonomy, sacrifices the right to determine the future, mortifies the impulse to predict or anticipate, blindly offer the days to come to God, to leave the choice entirely to Him. In short, it is to become poor. This detachment from ourselves is surely a necessary condition of abandoning ourselves to God, which does not cancel our power to give our lives to Him, but which cannot happen without an implicit promise not to question God later, to reconsider His will. In the absence of any knowledge of what God can do with that open 645 permission, this prayer repeated throughout life can be a form of slow death, which in God's plan will be fulfilled without a doubt. This is easier if we realize that letting go of our control over the rest of our days can only lead us to happiness. Become a member of the channel and be an instrument of the Word of God. Don't miss this opportunity to impact lives. Click the link in the description now and help us spread the Word of God. Integrity by Paul Andrew. Summary. That small area that you think you have control over will eventually bring you down. 31A woman from Texas says that a few years ago she and her husband invited a friendly couple to her house to have dinner. The guests brought them a pot of tulips as a gift. The lady didn't think the tulips were really pretty and she thought their color was ugly, but she thought it was a gift from friends. She fed the plant, watered it faithfully and even fertilized it. She told herself that she didn't have the heart to throw it away, but that she would do it when the flowers withered. One afternoon 2 years later, her youngest son absent-mindedly reached out and rubbed the petals of the tulips. "Don't touch them, dear," said her mother, "they will be stained." The lady was stunned by this response, and the son continued, "Mum, this plant is artificial." In truth, the son was correct. For 2 years the lady had taken care of a silk plant. In today's gospel, Jesus refers to the Pharisees as false. And what is the opposite of falsehood? Integrity. The word integrity comes from the same Latin root as whole, and suggests the wholeness of the person. Many people segment their lives and think that they can live with integrity when they are harboring sin in one area of their life, as long as it does not affect the other areas. I call this the Titanic myth. The Titanic was supposed to be the first unsinkable ship because it was the first ship made to segment and compartmentalize the hull. Theoretically, if water entered the ship in a certain area, the hatches would be closed and it would not sink, the whole boat. 646. But friends, when this happens in your lives, a hole in the boat is a hole in the boat, and eventually you're going to drown. That small area that you think you have control over will eventually bring you down. And this will affect the people around you. Because while sin is personal, it is never private. However, if we really want integrity, we have to be willing to examine our lives to see if there are some subtle forms of hidden deception there. 2. Father Gillespie